If you're caught up in a strata property dispute, you know just how technical and, well, confusing it can all get. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a really powerful tool the Strata Tribunal uses to sort things out. We're talking about Regulation 42.
Just imagine this for a second. You got this crack that's creeping up your wall. Or maybe there's a leak that just will not go away. Your expert says it's one thing, but the developer's expert says it's something else entirely. When you've got two technical opinions that are worlds apart, how in the world does the Strata Tribunal figure out what's really going on? Well, this is where Regulation 42 comes into play. It's part of the Strata Management Tribunal regulations from 2015, and it's specifically designed for these messy situations. Think of it as the tribunal's special ability to call in an independent, third-party expert to get a fresh set of eyes on the problem.
And the core idea is laid out right there in the regulation itself. The whole point is to appoint an independent expert to investigate and report on questions of fact or opinion. But check out that last part, because it's really important. Not involving questions of law. This is all about getting to the technical truth of the matter, not deciding legal blame. Okay, so that's the what. But how does it actually happen? Let's walk through the playbook for bringing a tribunal expert into your case. It's actually a pretty straightforward process.
It really boils down to three main steps. First, you need that technical question at the center of everything. The part where everyone disagrees. Second, someone proposes that an expert should be appointed. And finally, the tribunal makes the call and officially appoints them. So the next logical question is, who can kick this all off?
Turns out, there are two ways this can get started. The tribunal can actually look at the case and decide on its own, you know what, we need an independent voice here. Or you, as one of the parties in the dispute, can formally apply to have an expert brought in. So you have some control here.
All right, so everyone agrees an expert is needed. Now for the million-dollar question. Who actually gets to pick the person for the job? Well, the regulation sets up two different paths, and it really prefers cooperation.
In a perfect world, both sides sit down and agree on an expert. That's the ideal path because it shows everyone is on board with finding a neutral party. But let's be real, that doesn't always happen. So if you can't agree, the tribunal will step in and nominate an expert themselves. That way, things don't get stuck.
So we've got our expert. Now what? You can't just send them in with a vague, go figure it out. They need a clear mission, a very specific set of instructions on what they need to investigate and report back on.
And you might see a pattern here, because defining the expert's job works the exact same way as picking them. The best-case scenario is that both parties agree on the exact questions the expert has to answer. But if you can't come to an agreement, once again, the tribunal will make the decision and set the instructions for them.
And let's just hammer this point home one more time because it is absolutely crucial. The expert's mission is all about facts and technical opinions. They're there to answer questions like, what was the structural cause of the crack? They are not there to answer, so who is legally responsible for paying for it? That final call, that's for the tribunal and the tribunal alone.
Now, the regulation uses some pretty specific language, as legal documents tend to do. So let's just take a second to quickly define a couple of key terms so we're all on the same page. First one's easy, but it's an important distinction. Anyone who gets appointed through this whole process gets the official title of tribunal expert. This just makes it clear that they're different from any other experts that you or the other party might have hired on your own. They're the official neutral party.
So what does it even take to be considered an expert? The regulation has a clear definition for that too. It's basically anyone whose knowledge and experience in a field is so solid that their opinion could be used as actual evidence in a legal proceeding. So we're not just talking about anyone with an opinion, we're talking about a real, qualified professional.
So there you have it. Regulation 42 is the tribunal's go-to tool for cutting through all the technical back and forth to get to the heart of the matter. Which brings us to the final thought. Now that you know this tool exists, how might that change the way you prepare for or even try to settle a really complex strata dispute? Something to think about.